I am getting so tired of people like YongYea or Alana Pierce who have absolutely no real world experience, no knowledge, no anything, who have lucked out in life without ever having to struggle in the slightest, trying to tell everyone how life truly should be. Oh no, people don't deserve to be fired. If you worked 5 or 6 years on a game, which is, by the way, better job security than the average position by far, by the way. Oh no, you should be able to work in this industry, in a sector, in a job place from since you were 18 until you die if you want to. Now, granted, if you got this opportunity and you took it because you wanted, more power to you. I'm happy for you. But the reality is, this should not be expected in the slightest. This is not normal. I am so tired of these out-of-touch YouTubers constantly crying nonstop about, oh no, the game industry just fired a bunch of developers and their game wasn't even that bad. Or even worse, when the games industry fires a bunch of developers who were absolutely garbage at their job, Dragon Age, the Veilguard, Concord, High Guard, and all of that. Oh no, they made slop and now they got fired for it. The horrors. You make a game and you should move on. Am I the only one who thinks that's normal? Well, clearly, people like Young don't believe that's normal.
That EA recently pulled.
Oops.
Let's talk about the BS that EA recently pulled, which highlights that there is no such thing as safety in the games industry. No matter if you as developers, as a collective, create an epic failure of a product or an epic success of a product, no matter what.
Battlefield 6 was not an epic success. It was a success and it did good, but like, what did you expect? That everyone's gonna be kept for the next game? It's game development. You're on for one game, and then you don't know what's gonna happen even if it's a success or not. Why is this so hard to accept?
There's a good chance you might be laid off. So today's story concerns Battlefield 6, a title that, no doubt, is an incredible success. I mean, looking at Steam charts here, looking at the all-time peak numbers on Steam of 747,440 players, and the fact that even now, months after launch, it's retaining tens of thousands of players. Looking at the sales figures, I mean, we learned that Battlefield 6 sold a record-shattering 7 million copies.
Now, to be absolutely fair, though, it's not like Battlefield 6 is doing that poorly. But at the same time, if the the average player count has dropped after, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-ish months? 3-ish? Not even 4 real months. 4-ish almost months to 50k. That's not the greatest, but it's not the worst theoretically. It had a slow drop off. It definitely was a success. And if it sold 7 million copies, that's the break-even cause that I kind of predicted that it's gonna get.
The best launch for Battlefield in history. And then 2 months later, we would learn that Battlefield 6 has surpassed roughly 20 million copies sold. And with this being a game that was sold at...
Oh, 20 million already? Jesus. But it's funny because I estimated 7 million copies sold at the launch of the game. Oh boy. Right again, boys. Put this down on the calendar. He was right again. I know. It's a curse. 20 million copies sold by this point, though. Oh boy, they made good money.
Million copies sold. And with this being a game that was sold at that premium price point of $70, just from base game sales alone, this game made a shit ton of money. And this being a live service on top of that, it means that all the microtransactions and monetization elements included in Battlefield 6 made money for EA as well. So this is a game that no doubt generated billions of dollars in revenue, more than made its money.
Billions is a stretch, but then again, this guy doesn't know what 2 + 2 is.
It's considered a commercial success. So much so, in fact, that ultimately by the end of 2025, Battlefield 6 ended as being the best-selling game of 2025, even surpassing Call...
Wow, I did not know that.
Call of Duty for the first time in history. Surpassing Call of Duty is practically unheard of until Battlefield 6 came along.
I mean, there's only so many times Call of Duty can literally decide to make all of their characters gay and unlikable and get away with it.
Now, in recent weeks, we have seen the user reception surrounding Battlefield 6 dip. Once upon a time, this mostly positive game is now sitting on Steam at a
Yeah, I was actually looking at it, and I swear that it released to mostly positive receptions of like 75% plus, if I remember correctly.
mixed score of 65%. There's an article right here from IGN that explains all of the woes that people have had with updates surrounding the game that either broke certain aspects, that implemented like AI generated content, and just the mishandling of some of the content that has released and some of the balancing issues that people have experienced or some of the gameplay tweaks that people didn't like. So sure, recently from a community sentiment standpoint, there have been some rough tidings when it comes to Battlefield 6. But with all that said and done, developers ultimately did ship a massively record-breaking successful product. But even all that wasn't enough for EA, with IGN reporting that EA has laid off staff across all Battlefield studios.
It was enough! What were they supposed to do? Battlefield 6 is out, the updates have been done, some content is done. Do you think they need like a fucking 1,000 or 2,000 workers still working on it daily? No! Were they supposed to keep these people on and just pay them salaries while they tweedle their fucking thumbs in their a-holes? No! I, the amount of out of touch we're talking about here is crazy. And by the way, people like Yong and Alana, who are the primary suspects when they make videos like this, oh, people got fired in the games industry, it's a massive... It wasn't even 10% ever. Oh, it's so bad, it's so stupid, I hate it. And they're like, oh, I'm gonna virtue signal. It's just virtue signaling. That's all that that is. They don't even probably believe this. They don't even care about this.
Following the record-breaking Battlefield 6 launch. This is something that IGN itself learned based on sources that they spoke to, highlighting that teams within EA who...
If I knew that this was a big deal, I could have predicted this before Battlefield 6 released.
Who've been affected include Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios, all of who did contribute to Battlefield 6's development. Apparently, these layoffs, according to EA, are part of a realignment across the Battlefield studios. While all 4 studios will remain operational, the layoffs will ultimately impact a variety of teams across multiple studios and offices. And then here we have a direct quote from an EA spokesperson who spoke to IGN stating, "We have made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community. Battlefield remains one of our biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insights from Battlefield Labs." I just don't know how there can be a scenario where a game like Battlefield 6 comes along, shatters the records that it does, sells at the volume that it does, monetizes at the volume that it does, and it's still cause to lay off the developers who made that product remotely possible, who brought EA all of these lucrative profits.
I wonder, has Young ever had like you know, a plumber or electrician? He probably has had an electrician or something, because God knows he would never be able even to assemble this on his own, right? So he probably hired someone to do this. I wonder, if that person's still on employment role for Young, you know? What, Young? Are you just gonna hire someone to do the thing and then you're not gonna pay them any longer? Didn't you just say that's bad, that's wrong? Oh no, of course, Young just hired them, they did the thing, and they were gone. He didn't even think about keeping them on payroll for no reason while they do nothing. Because this is not a real thing. This is the highest level of virtue signaling.
If this is the team that has brought you this level of success, then you should be doing everything in your power to make this team happy, to retain them, and ensure that they feel safe. And
yes, you should bend over backwards, you know, like people at Blizzard for a voice actor that's garbage. Oh, I actually don't know how that ended up. Oh, people probably already have forgotten about Overwatch. But that gonna write that on my notes. Check on how Overwatch is doing. Probably bad.
comfortable in their work environment, because this is the team that could make you the next mega hit with all the institutional knowledge that this team garnered by working together on this specific title. This is just such short-term thinking that constantly gets publishers like
Yes, that's why obviously Obsidian, after making Fallout New Vegas, made hit after hit after hit. Oh wait, they didn't. That's interesting. It's almost like a lot of these things are a one-off scenarios. Interesting.
EA and Ubisoft and those in a similar level of AAA publishing in trouble because of this short-sighted thinking. Say what you want about Nintendo, but the one thing that company is always praised for is the way they treat their employees and the way Nintendo values institutional knowledge and want to retain as many of its developers as possible, because they know that if they get a team that works together and you encourage...
Yeah, they also tried to sue Palworld out of existence. That lawsuit, by the way, is pretty much over, as much as I understand. They have been told, well, if you're not going to actually try and sue every other Pokemon clone in existence, but just this one, don't even try to do this again. That's pretty much my understanding of it, but maybe I'm misunderstanding something because I don't remember where I got this information, so maybe I dreamt it. In any case, pathetic.
Encourage that team to keep working together and keep that team happy and just allow them to keep doing their thing. They will make you banger after banger. There's a reason why Nintendo releases...
Yes, because... What the... Wait, is he gonna say Nintendo releases good stuff? Nintendo releases AI slop after garbage after trash.
Are so consistent in the level of high quality that they achieve. And with Battlefield...
What do you mean consistent? Let me Google this. Last two Nintendo games. What were the last two? A bit blah 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 much. A Fatal... shit, I don't know what what Fatal Frame is. Okay, let's look at this. Nintendo games. What did we have? Oh, we have Mario Kart World. That's right. Oh, wow. Literally no new mechanics. The same thing, but overpriced. We had Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Literally just another Zelda game to cash grab. People liked it, so, you know, I should not speak ill of it. After that, is Samus Nintendo? I guess it is. Oh, wait, they ruined that. Wait, what do you mean? People hate fucking Nintendo. Nintendo is one of the worst companies out there because they charge money for absolute garbage.
6, when you're looking at a game that sold at $70 a pop and basically made around $1.4 billion in revenue, if you multiply the $20 million in sales estimate by $70, and that's, of course, not assuming all of the additional factors like regional pricing and discounts and sales and whatnot. The fact that you can even approach a figure like $1.4 billion in revenue highlights just how much freaking money this game made. You can absolutely afford to keep the entirety of the Battlefield 6 team, and that's excluding all of the monetization that Battlefield 6 managed to profit off of. There is no good reason to lay off any developer in this scenario, except if you're just that freaking petty and greedy that you have to cut costs for.
Or if you're this clueless about how life works because you probably never have had a real job.
Short-term financial...
Even Asmongold has more work experience in his part-time job that he did for a week.
Guidance that doesn't even consider the long-term damage that this does. When developers can't even feel safe in shipping a successful product, what will inspire talented people who want their work to be respected and just to be treated humanely to continue working on video games? Like, this is the kind of shit that will bleed talent in the games industry. And yeah, suffice to say that on social media, the back...
Literally has been a thing since the inception of the games industry, by the way, and everything's still fine. I just want to point that one out also.
Clash against EA for this baffling move has been pretty intense. Right here we have a top comment from Looney who says, the gaming industry is the most successful entertainment industry in the history of our species, and it is being continually run into the ground by the greediest humans in the history of our species. Here's somebody else who summarized all this in this very brief fashion. This is what being in the games industry is like. Make a bad game, gets fired. Make a good game, gets fired. Doesn't matter.
It's almost like that's a natural conclusion to making a game. Interesting. Interesting. Wow.
People like Maddie Place here are highlighting some of the stats that highlight what an incredibly successful launch and product this was. The fact that there's layoffs of any kind with even this level of success highlights how bleak things are in the games industry for developers who just deserve to be treated better and be in a better, safer feeling working environment, who deserve to be rewarded for helping ship a successful product, and who deserve to...
They did receive rewards for that thing, okay? In fact, the work the work environment is so good, it even would have rewarded them if they made shit because they got paid a salary. Okay? This communism garbage dribble is so annoying because Young's gonna be like, oh, they did a good game, they deserve they deserve part of the credits. What if they make a bad game? Do they deserve to now pay the debt of the company? You're not gonna get that. You're gonna probably blame the leadership for failing the game. And here, the developers, the lunch lady, who you didn't abacadabra for some reason, okay? The guy in front of the building who stands there, he's the reason it was so good. Oh God, I can't.
Like, retain the talent and the teams that make these products possible and to keep doing what they do. And yeah, all of the top comments basically highlight this industry that no matter what you do, you have to go find yourself a new job. You will get fired, whether you make a flop or...
There is, by the way, so many. The reason why Young's video is going to be probably incredibly successful about this is because there are a lot of people who are just like, oh no, you should never be fired from anything in your life. I don't understand. Like, how many ill-equipped for real life people are out there? It is insane.
A bestseller. Here's somebody else highlighting the realities of the consequences of this level of short-sighted thinking on the part of CEOs when you aren't even safe after launching a successful game anymore. What these stupid executives don't realize is when you lay people off, a huge knowledge base walks out the door with them, and a lot of the time, the people remaining have to essentially start from scratch because they aren't equipped to deal with the enormity of AAA game development out of lack of experience. And I know that there are some qualms with the current state of Battlefield 6, and those are...
Yes, okay. Work at this. Make Dragon Age Veilguard fails, instantaneously get hired to make Mass Effect 5. That's the pipeline. These people are, it's just a giant revolving door at this point of failure.
Absolutely valid. But you need the developers to be able to fix the issues surrounding Battlefield 6, and so many of the reasons why game design and, game integrity ends up going awry is because of higher-up executive mandates that has nothing to do with the developers who get laid off for just doing their jobs. And for ultimately bringing to life a product that a lot of people have enjoyed and continue to enjoy, and that has made corporations like EA a boatload of money. Now, something worth highlighting is this article from July of 2000.
I'm sure EA had absolutely nothing to do with the fact Battlefield 6 was successful. It was the lunch lady and the toilet cleaner lady. No, toilet cleaner man, because we're for equality here. Yeah. Now, I'm sure no one at EA contributed to Battlefield 6 success, okay? I'm sure they didn't.
2025, when it was reported that EA is seemingly expecting Battlefield 6 to have 100 million players, 3 times more than the series' bestseller. What can you even say to that? And that right there is a really important thing to highlight. No matter how successful a product seems, ultimately what real success is defined by the executives who...
I always actually doubted that's a real thing that happened. It could have been granted. I believe that. People are that delusional, right? I mean, we're watching a Young video at the end of the day. But I never actually thought that's like real, because there's no way anyone believes that they're just gonna get 100 million players and become the next Fortnite.
Run the whole ship, and who set the expectations of what a product needs to do in order to be deemed successful in the eyes of the corporation. It's not about whether the game made enough money, whether it made more money than its budget, whether it made a profit. It's about whether it made the level of profit that these...
Whatever he says here is wrong, by the way.
Corporations aim to achieve because of just the sheer level of greed and the appeal to investors that they are constantly engaging in.
That's wrong. The appeal to investors is like a 1%, 2%, 3% increase in stock value yearly. That's the appeal to investors. Okay? So, No, Young, no.
This time and again, games that have sold a certain number of millions of copies and, you know, a level of volume that makes one think, oh my gosh, that is a really successful game. And then months down the line, a report comes out that says this company was disappointed with that game's sales despite having sold millions upon millions. And you're like, what? What are you talking about? It's because of those internal expectations that are just so unreasonable and impossible to read.
And he just broad blanket swept pretty much all of these things, and a lot of them are unique and have nuance, but whatever. Anyway, that was YongYea. Sad. Very sad. Bye.